So when you first started working on the film, did you ever expect that it would elicit this huge response from critics?
We never have an expectation about how it's going to do. All we can do as we're creating it is try to make it as strong as possible, try to access our own emotions, and you hope that translates to audiences. But when it goes out in the theater, you're crossing your fingers and you're sweating because you don't know. But every step along the way, to hear the feedback, to hear what this means to families, to people who have lost somebody, to people who have seen themselves represented on screen for the first time, from all of these angles, it's been really rewarding and encouraging to see the effect of this film on the world.
Yeah. And can you talk about how important it was to get the Mexican culture right in the film? Because so many of my friends have raved about this film because of that specifically, and how much they identify with that.
This was a film that was built out of the celebration of Dia de Muertos. It's a real tradition. It's got a real meaning to the practices and observances. And at Pixar, we're always about research, and only more so on this film because it comes from a real place and it represents a real culture. A culture that's very close to my heart. And so for all of those reasons, we knew from an early point that we wanted to do justice to these traditions and to represent, these families faithfully. And I think it speaks to the quality of what we were trying to do and the meaning of these traditions, that people who are completely unfamiliar with it walk away thinking like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful way to commemorate the people you love. What a joyful way to stay connected to the generations that have come before you. And I think that's something for the Mexican culture to be proud of, and something that we're very happy we were able to translate delicately and faithfully.
And I feel like it's something that hasn't been shown in animation. I think we've seen that a lot in TV shows and films, the Mexican culture being highlighted more. But in animation, it was kind of unheard of.
Yeah, I think it's a long time coming, and I think that a lot of people, when they go into the theater and they see these characters in this family, for a lot of people, it's a breath of fresh air. It's a confirmation that they exist and their stories matter, or for people who maybe are outside of the community, to see a positive representation and the benefit of learning about other people, learning about other traditions, and how beautiful they can be and how meaningful they can be even to your own life if you take the time to ask about the stories, to listen, and to really understand it.
And how important has it been to finally have a group of children that haven't seen their culture represented in animation suddenly have this? Have you seen that in your own life? Have children asked you about that?
For children, I think it's more in the parents' responses, and we've heard a lot of feedback from parents who themselves maybe grew up in the United States not seeing this type of thing and being thirsty for it, and to be able to see them watch their kids receive that representation and confirmation is a very moving experience for them, and rightfully so. I hope that the kids who watch this film grow up with this sense of value and with this sense of the idea that they are protagonists in their own story, and that these voices have the power to affect and connect to the rest of the world. I think the whole world is a beneficiary of learning each other's stories and understanding each other's experiences.
And seeing as this is a Film Critics Awards ceremony, kind of a fun question. Have you ever seen a film that critics hated but you loved, and what film would that be?
Oh,
I have lots of fun.
That's a tough one. When I was growing up, I was always a huge fan of the Speed Racer cartoon series, and I love what they did with that film. I know that one didn't quite go over as well critically, but there are moments in that film that really tickle my funny bone and make me feel something. So maybe that's one where I've got my own opinions.